If you're feeling stressed, anxious, or burnt out, your breath is actually your reset button that you've been ignoring. And no, not all breath work is created equally. In this video, I'm going to teach you how you can utilize your breath to overcome stress, anxiety, fatigue, all of these things, and the neuroscience that proves this to be so effective. If you're new to my work, my name is Sam Kabert. I am a keynote speaker, mental health coach. I help people to integrate emotional and mental health into everyday life. So with that, without further ado, let's dive into it. So the first thing to understand how to utilize your breath when you're feeling all of these emotions or even triggers, the first thing to understand is that we need to look at the differences of breathwork techniques, because oftentimes people talk about breathwork exercises to shift into rest and digest. And that's great. You know, I would consider that a breathwork exercise as opposed to a breathwork journey. Now, sometimes when we're feeling those triggers or those feelings coming up, yes, we need to just utilize breathwork to shift us into the parasympathetic nervous system. But other times, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice and just putting a band-aid on what's really coming to the surface. And that's why I like breathwork journeys, or even what I like to call a microdose of a breathwork journey. So let's unpack this a little bit more. Breathwork exercises, my definition, is a breathwork technique that is going to shift you into rest and digest. And a breathwork journey is something where it could be as deep as a cathartic release where you literally feel like you're being reborn. That's a true breathwork journey. Or a microdose of a breathwork journey where you're diving into your subconscious mind, your nervous system, and you're kicking up the dust of all those stored and stuck emotions, because remember, emotions are energy in motion, and when we don't allow ourselves to feel those emotions, they get stuck and stored in the body. So if you want to utilize your breath as a reset button, you need to know when to use exercises versus journeys. Now, if you have a recurring theme, a recurring pattern of maybe sadness, maybe grief, or maybe anger, and someone in your life has told you, hey, have you tried box breathing? Have you tried the cyclic sigh? Have you tried the 5-5 coherent breathing or something along those lines? And you're like, yeah, I'm doing those things, but I still feel angry, but I still feel sadness. The problem is, you're using breathwork exercises as a band-aid and you're not getting to the root. Now, breathwork journeys get to the root. So if you're ready to finally move past what's coming to the surface and stop living in the past with these old emotions that aren't serving you, then you need to have the courage to do a breathwork journey. Now, what is a breathwork journey? I kind of alluded to this earlier, but a breathwork journey is that deep cathartic release. It's typically about an hour. Sometimes we'll see it as long as at 3 hours. Now, every week on Zoom, I lead people through what I consider to be a microdose of a breathwork journey. It's about 20 minutes long, and it utilizes the breath method that helps us to process emotions in real time. I call it a microdose because it's enough where you can kick up the dirt and the dust of these stuck energies to move through them, but it's not going to give you that complete rebirth, if you will. So if you want to learn more about that, you can join my free breath club. It's completely free. Every single Wednesday, I lead people through breathwork exercises. And in this video, we're talking about the first step in the breath process, which is breathe to slow down. And these are the 5 tools that can help you. First one, understand the differences between exercises and journeys. Next, the 3 rules of breathwork exercises. Remember, if breathwork exercises are to shift us into rest and digest, we need to use these with intention and to understand when we are just compartmentalizing to avoid something versus when we're using this to calm our nerves for, say, maybe a triggered conversation, maybe a presentation, a sales call, whatever that might be. Understand that it's okay to compartmentalize if, this is the caveat, if you go back and unpack later what you compartmentalize in the moment to help you show up for yourself in the moment. Make sense? If you have questions on that, reach out, because I have a lot more free resources on this podcast and all kinds of other stuff, and always happy to chat one-on-one as well. So without further ado, what are the 3 rules of breathwork exercises? Remember, that's to shift into rest and digest. First, inhale through the nose. It doesn't matter as much if you're inhaling or if you're exhaling through your nose or mouth. What I am most concerned on is that your inhale is through the nose. If you'd like to exhale through the mouth, that's fine, but inhaling through the nose is going to help shift you into rest and digest. Next is diaphragmatic breathing. This is deep belly breaths. Like if you've ever done a yoga class or a meditation class, you may have heard the instructor say, when you're breathing, imagine expanding your belly like you're pulling air into a balloon. That's literally what's going on. When we inhale, we want to expand, go outward, not just outward, but also include our back body. And then we contract, we bring it back in on the exhale. So it looks like this. If you notice on an inhale your stomach comes in, not to worry. With intention, you can start to retrain your nervous system to allow your stomach to expand on your inhale. The final rule of breathwork exercises, that is to shift into rest and digest, is to allow your exhale to be longer than your inhale. These 3 things, inhaling through your nose, letting the belly expand, and having your exhale be longer than the inhale, will help to shift you into rest and digest. Now, next is this principle of the 2,000,000 What is this about? Well, if you're new to my work, I love stacking the subconscious mind with nervous system regulation. And the reason is, most of the time we talk about mental health, or we talk about emotional health, or we talk about mindset, right? Versus feelings. And the truth is, we need to address both our mental and our emotional health. This is called the mind-body connection. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza said it best. Feelings are the language of the body, and thoughts are the language of the mind. So if you're just doing mindset work, you're only working on your mental health, your mindset. And if you're just doing nervous system regulation, you're only working on your body, your feelings. So I like to combine both. So when we're feeling that triggered state, this, as a reminder, this is the first step in the breath process. When you're feeling that triggered state, you'll do these 2 things first. Understand, are you moving into an exercise to get into rest and digest? Or do you need something more activating, like a microdose of a breathwork journey to move through it? Next, if you are moving into an exercise, utilize these 3 rules. And then third, we're going to realize that in any given moment, we are processing 2 million bits of information. And only 126 of those bits make it to our conscious awareness. And why this is crucial to understand is because it allows us to reframe what's going on. If we are in a triggered state, we can't think clear or anything like that, we utilize our breath to get into our body. That, remember, the body, the language of feelings is the language, or feelings are the language of the body. So first we get into the language of the body, our feelings. Next, we're going to program our mind. And we're going to understand, well, shoot, if I am processing 2 million bits of information every single second, and only 126 of that gets into my conscious awareness, now we can get curious and say, maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. And this is where the shadow work begins. Next, we get into a practical exercise that we can utilize to help us see that thing that's coming up to the surface. And my favorite form of breath work in terms of an exercise to shift into rest and digest is the cyclic sigh. And the cyclic sigh is backed by science. Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab at Stanford did a study to discover, hey, what's going to be the most effective form of breath work or meditation to not only alleviate stress and anxiety in the moment, but to have lasting impacts throughout the day. And what they found is that the cyclic sigh is more effective than any other form of breath work or meditation that they tested it against to alleviate stress and anxiety in not just real time, but to have lasting impact throughout the day. Now, if this is new for you, this is how you do a cyclic sigh. It's a big inhale up, sipping a bit more air at the top, and then through the mouth, exhale. A few notes here. On the inhale, you're inhaling through your nose. You're letting your belly expand. And once you get to the top of your breath, sip in a bit more air. And then on the exhale, exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Bring your belly back to the spine. Now, here's a ninja secret that I typically say reserve for just my clients. So you guys are getting in on this ninja secret, and this is amazing. So the ninja secret is that when you are in conversation with someone else, and you know how you hear those racing thoughts, like even right now, take a moment to slow down. Notice what's coming up to the surface in your mind. Are you thinking about what you're going to eat? If you're hungry, if you're thinking about, oh, I'm a kook, or does this guy even know what he's talking about? Or are you thinking about ways you can utilize in this in your active life? Whatever it is, you have thoughts circling. Now, do me a favor and just inhale through your nose all the way up, sipping a bit more at the top, and then through your nose, exhale. And continue to breathe just like that. Inhale all the way up through the nose. Inhale a bit more at the top, and then through the nose, exhale and let it go. Now, as you continue to breathe just like that, inhaling all the way up, sipping in a bit more air at the top, and exhaling through the nose, just imagine that you're in conversation with someone else. And in this conversation, it's starting to get a little heated. You're starting to feel your nervous system spike. Lean into this breath. Now, it would be a little bit weird if you're in conversation with someone else, whether it was a heated conversation or not, if you went, right? That would be weird. So imagine you're in conversation with someone else and do this breath like a ninja. That means as subtle as possible. Inhale all the way up through the nose, sipping in a bit more air at the top, and through the nose, exhale, let it go. Continue to breathe just like that. And as you continue to breathe, just like that, you'll start to notice that those racing thoughts are starting to dissipate. Your body is now feeling more safe. And as you continue to utilize this practice, whether it's just if you have a racing mind and you think you have ADHD, or you do have ADHD and you can't stay focused, or if you're just thinking about what you're going to say next and that gives you anxiety, or it's just keeping you from being fully present, or as the example we used, it's a triggering conversation and you need something to regulate. Continue to inhale just like that. Slow inhales through the nose all the way up, sipping a bit more air at the top, and through the nose, exhale. That's it, just like that. And now recognize what this would be like in your life if you utilize this in those conversations where you have either a body that's getting flooded with heated emotions or racing thought. What you're doing now is you're retraining your nervous system in a way to breathe that is safe so that your mind can slow down and that your body can relax. And that, my friends, is the Ninja Cyclic Sigh. It's an amazing tool. Everyone loves it. You will too, as you continue to integrate in your life. Now, the last thing we have, number 5, is the vagus nerve. We can think of the vagus nerve as the main highway of the PNS. PNS is parasympathetic nervous system. So by utilizing breath work into your routine, you're actually stimulating, or that is to say, you're activating the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is going to help to slow down your heart rate, it improves digestion, and you're going to access extreme clarity. So if you are someone that is looking to live a life of more vitality, more joy, more natural energy without outsourcing your energy to caffeine or anything like that, the best thing you can do is start to learn about your nervous system through breath work and stack it with the subconscious mind. Because remember, if you're just focusing on mental health, that's not enough. You got to bring emotional health into it as well. And that is why I like to stack subconscious reprogramming with breathwork. Now, if this video resonated with you, be sure to leave a like and drop a comment. Let me know what resonated most, what stood out most to you, because when you put that in the comments, you're reinforcing that neural pathway in your head that, hey, this made an impact. I want to help. I want to integrate this into my life. And for other people checking out the video, you know, everyone looks at the comments, they're going to see that comment and you're going to be paying it forward, so it helps them as too. And if you want to go deeper with me, the best way to do so is to join my free online community. It's called the Breath Club. And in the Breath Club, every single week, I lead you through guided breathwork. There's also a bank of pre-recorded breathwork exercises along with an online community to help support you as things come up in real time, and none of that scheduling and waiting for an answer later from a coach or a therapist. So if that's interesting to you, make sure you join the Breath Club, and I'll see you on the next video.